So what's next? So we talked about the two common causes of low back pain from a stability standpoint, were either weakness, your core just doesn't have what it takes to support your body, or are you locking out your lumbar spine? A lot of times those go hand in hand. Locking out is a compensation for weakness of the core. So we're gonna make this as simple as possible, and hopefully it makes complete sense to you. We're gonna go over first, what is neutral spine to prevent from locking, and then how do we progress or regress to build your core strength up. So first, let's define what is neutral spine. So last post, I talked about the facet joints and how when we bend forward or flexion, they open up. When we extend or go backwards, they compress or close down. So how do we know what is the position that is the happiest for your spine? It's called neutral spine. So how do we find that? So I'm going to go through a series of how you find it in different positions, but this is what I want you to visualize. This is going to represent all the way bending forward. This is going to represent all the way bending backwards. So we're trying to find that middle ground. So what you're going to see is we're going to be using the pelvis, and we're going to be going all the way forward with the pelvis, all the way back. Forward again, take a little bit off. Back a little bit, take a little bit off. And we're kind of honing in on that middle spot. So vroom, 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 vroom. It's not going to make that noise. I hope it doesn't, but you get the point. Okay, this is the easiest way to do it. You start here in sitting, feet are supported on the ground. Here's what I want you to think. I want you to think of my pelvis, my belt line, my waistline, like a bowl of water. At the very top, we're going to be spilling and bringing that water forward and backwards, and we're trying to find that point where that bowl is level, neutral spine. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to bring my pelvis back and forward, and we're honing in and finding that middle space. Once you find that middle space, that's where we activate the core. See previous post, pushing the abdominals out. If you have a hard time isolating your lumbar spine, sometimes we move awkwardly all as one. Having your hands around your waist to facilitate that movement just from the pelvis can be helpful. So then what you're going to do is once you pass that, then you're going to go on your back, knees bent up, again taking the spine through the two ranges of motion to find that middle point, that neutral spine, and then activating the true core from there. And then we're going to bring it to a plank position. Again, forward, back, find that middle ground. We've got that neutral spine. Okay, so now you know when we say activate your core, that is with the preface that it's a neutral spine. Find neutral spine first. In the beginning, you're gonna have to be cognizant about it. You're gonna have to think about it. It's not gonna come natural. After a while, boom, you're just gonna pop into it. But you have to train your body of what is neutral. So the more you do that, even throughout the day, sitting at your desk, standing up, taking that bowl of water through the excursion of motion, trying to find that level position, that neutral spine, it's gonna become second nature to you. So we wanna make sure when we're doing this, when we're trying to build your core strength up, we're not laying it on a poor foundation or a crooked foundation. We wanna make sure it's level, neutral, so that we can build from it. Again, we're gonna have the progressions be from a static position where the core is not moving, we're going to become more and more and more horizontal. So once we work our way down, we're going to work our way back up with dynamic. So then that's where the core is being stable, but then the legs are moving. So that's more of a dynamic versus static. Now we're going to elevate up. It doesn't matter how high. Usually chair is about 17 inches. I've got two 2-inch foam stacked on top of that. So we're looking at 21 inches higher. Find neutral spine. Hold it for a minute. Once I can do that, I bring it a little bit lower. Once I can do that, as you'll see, I'm going to keep going lower and lower and lower and trying to hold for that 1 minute. So now, next step is we're going to go back to vertical, but we're going to bring dynamic stability into it. And this is going to mimic how we use our core with running. Hopefully it's a light bulb. Aha, this makes sense. We're going to do the running man drill where I'm working on quick turnover rate, the 180 steps or cadence of 3 hertz per minute, working on smooth transition. I'm working on my landing of not just stabbing the ground, I'm gliding over the ground, quick turnover rate, and again, soft, quiet landing. I'm also not crossing midline. I'm trying to mimic running where there's a period of flight time. So that's how we're going to use our core while maintaining that neutral spine position. Don't let it go. So you'll see here, step 1, horizontal, 2, a little bit higher back up on the chair, and then 3 is at the wall. Some alterations, if you're like, all right, I got it, I want extra credit. I love extra credit. You're that student, you're that person. That's fine, that's cool. What you're gonna do is now make a stable surface unstable. So what has to make up for that lack of stability? Your core. So here I got a Bosu ball, doing the same exact progression, trying for a minute, trying as close to 180 steps per minute as I can, working on keeping that neutral spine. And then here it's even less of a stable surface, working on, again, soft, quiet landing, that quick turnover rate. So again, I hope that makes sense to you. It's all physics, it's all biomechanics. We're just trying to take something, make it a little bit easier, and then make it harder again, and simulate running. There's a million ways to work your core, and you can do that, but with running, it's going forward and loaded. So our exercises to build your core should resemble that. So next up, before we get to running form causes of low back pain, there's 3 of them. We've got one more cause of low back pain from a weakness or a stability standpoint. I gave you a hint earlier, if you've been paying attention, it's at the hip. See if you guys can guess which muscle and why that is down below. Questions, comments, concerns?